Greetings from Chicagoland. You're listening to Munira's Musings, where your host Munira will showcase new guests each week to share exciting details about the journey to their niches. As we like to say, the riches are in the niches. And on this show, we'll share ideas on how to break through our invisible boundaries so we can start taking steps towards our dreams and create the life that we most desire. If you're passionate about impacting lives, then this podcast will give you some great ideas and equip you with the tools to quickly grow your business. Okay, let's get started with today's show. Here's your host, Munira.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira from Munira's Musings. The Niche Navigator is coming to you live with another guest, with another perspective, with another niche. Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Have you ever thought if you are in the right business? Have you ever thought that the path you are taking is the right one for you? If you have doubts, our next guest is going to help dissipate those doubts. Without further ado, let's talk to Nichelle Johnson. Hi, Nichelle. How are you?
Hello, good morning, Munira. I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. So, this show is about bringing people together and helping people who are still sitting on the sidelines or have taken the plunge into business but are not sure of the direction they are going to. Let's talk to those people who are in that doubt mode, or somebody who is also trying to expand their business. So entrepreneurs in general, what do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you do it, and why you do it.
Absolutely, Munira. So I help business owners bring their idea to reality. And that's the way I like to say it. I help people start up, and sustain their business. And I do this by helping them bring, as I said, an idea all the way through to reality. That includes formation of their business entity. We look at what kind of business they're in and what they really need to consider as far as licensing. Like, that's all the foundational things that we look at to see if, they really want to go this path. That's the first part. And also just to make sure that they're set up on a strong foundation to get started. And that's where a lot of business owners make mistake at. They don't set up the right way, and then it becomes a hindrance as they're moving on in their business. So I help you figure all of that out at the very beginning. I've even helped people launch the business whichever way they want, whether it's online, whether it's, through events and different things, just to be able to really get their business and idea out there. And then I've even helped people expand their business. So that gets more into the technical side, which I also help people with. So I'm just an overall business consultant. I can speak with you, really listen, see what it is you want to do, and let you know the right way, the type of business entity you may want to get into, whatever. So those are the things that I go over with a business owner to really determine what direction they want to go.
So tell us from the beginning, right? You've been doing this for how long?
Oh my gosh, such a long time. And the crazy thing is, I really got into it, I guess by mistake, if you if you want to say it that way. I just happened to be in my life around a lot of business owners. And so I started picking up things, and I would just give people, advice if they were, telling me about what they wanted to do, or like, oh, I have an idea. And I would just talk to people. And as I got more and more interested in that, I decided to go to school, get the business administration degree. But also, even as I was doing that, I've been working with businesses since I was in my early 20s, and I'm 50 now. So it's been about 20 years that I've been helping business owners kind of build out their idea and actually launch their business. And To those people who, like you said, are on the sidelines, I'll say, I kind of understand because, as I said, I got into it by accident. So when it came time to really launch my business, I was terrified to create an actual business. It felt a little better being on the sidelines, just giving people advice here and there. That was, they didn't have to depend on me, all of that. So it can be a scary thing when you are launching a business. And that's kind of why I do what I do, because I kind of walk with you as you're doing that.
So do you help figure out if they need an LLC or S Corp, all of that good stuff, right? So the technical and legal part of it, right?
Yes. And I will say I am not a lawyer, so we will get that on the table right away. But I definitely, yes.
So the disclaimer, no, and you're right, because you help people do that, but you're not a lawyer. So of course, those people who are trying to figure out which path to take, either for an S Corp or a LLC, doing business as on, and all of these are technical terms. You can get help from other institutions, but these are, you have to connect either with an accountant or a lawyer to get all of the paperwork done, because you want it done it right. And then this goes to the state offices, and you have to pay some dues every month, and then you file your taxes accordingly. So just
yes,
all
around disclaimer.
Right. So all around disclaimer. So when you were looking at your life, you went to school, what were you doing before that? I mean, before you even started and got your feet wet in business, did you have a job? Were you in corporate America? What were you doing?
So I was in corporate America. I had been working for government, nonprofits, that sort of thing. And I still do that work, but this is just my passion. This was my passion, and I have, as I said, done it for so very long. Initially as a hobby, or just just something that I did. It's almost like I couldn't help myself. So that's kind of how I got into it, and decided to make it a business. And when I did, and this is the kind of thing that I talk to people about as well, there are so many resources that are available. Not everything you have to pay for as far as training. I went to the Women Entrepreneurs of Baltimore and went through a business startup course. And I mean, it was an intensive, course that I went through. Very good, very great. But even in that course, we talked about the fact that you needed your team, and your team can be people who you pay, as a regular part of your team, but it can also be consultants and people that you hire when needed, like lawyers, accountants, all of that. And you really need to make sure that everything is set up. Even something as simple as a payroll entity, to be able to handle all of that information for you without you having to do it, especially if you are just not good at that, not great at that, and you need help. So I let people know that there are resources, there are businesses that are friendly to small business owners who may need to start small and then build up. All of that is really important. And as I said, people are a little fearful when they're trying to start. And so they don't know all of that. So, you don't know what you don't know. So
but
I kind
to your point is that when you start something, even the course is intensive, you still have to put in the work. You have to do the work.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You only get what you put into it, into a business, right? So you can't be sitting that it's going to work out. No, you have to work hard at it. So going forward, now that you've started in corporate America, you've started this business, what do you see is the biggest hiccup for people starting their own business?
Well, I kind of, hinted about it earlier, which is the way that they start. So a lot of people will not get, and I'm just going to be, completely honest, Munira, and put this out there. A lot of minority business owners, they almost start their business as a hobby and don't go through all of the legal um, requirements that they need to go through. They don't, get everything in order as far as their finances. They kind of just launch or, get out there and start doing this business, this thing that they love. And so that's great. And if you're able to do that and get past the fear of doing that, that's amazing. But you also need to make sure you have that strong foundation to really build your business. And what a lot of people don't understand is if you don't start your business the correct way, it's actually harder to scale up. So that is something that you want to consider as well. If you are really looking towards the future and you want to scale up your business and grow, you need to make sure that you start things the right way. I've seen people that have come in and they have an idea, but they may only, register as maybe just a sole proprietor. They don't really, look at if they need any licensing, and they're just kind of out dibbling and dabbling and don't know, what they want to do. But then, something happens and they kind of take off and you're still stuck with that shaky foundation that you kind of started with. So you just want to start your business out the right way, really have at least an idea of what you'll need as you grow, so that you can have that in mind and really have your plan in place.
That's a good point. But if somebody is just starting out and I'm going to be devil's advocate,
Mhm.
and it's not only just a minority. I think people don't know if or anybody who is starting, they don't know what they want to do, right? If this is going to work or if this is not going to work. And when my first customer was a cake lady, right? She was selling those, she was one of those ladies in a supermarket who would give you samples, but she made amazing cakes. And she, just happened that one day when I went into the supermarket, she just told me that she made amazing cakes. She didn't want to do this sampling anymore. She was frustrated. She had 5 kids and she didn't know how to take off, right? She just didn't know. So I said, work with me, we'll work. First of all, put your money where your mouth is, because if your cakes are good, then I'll buy them. So I gave her an order, and then, just one thing led to another, and her business has taken off. And then COVID happened and everything shut down, right? But then she didn't know how to scale. So she had, so there are people who start off, they rock it up, and then something happens, and then they don't know how to scale.
Mm-hmm.
She had just invested in a warehouse and she was trying to set that up, and she was frustrated and it was just a mess. However, she's back again, but she needs hand holding. Like, I really held her hand through the whole process. But then again, these are people who are trying to figure out if this is going to work. So once I think in your case, people who are listening, if you have started this as a hobby and you think, okay, this is going to work, I'm getting good at it, because you can't build your muscle. You have to work hard to build your muscle. You can't just do 2-3 push-ups and say, I built it, my muscle. It doesn't work. But once you start getting good at it, then hire a professional to get everything straightened out. And this is important. So that's one of the things that you're talking about. The other thing is, why do you think you mentioned this in the previous conversation we had? You said people are just fearful. Why is fear such a gripping thing?
Well, because we don't want to fail. And some people are scared about what if they succeed because they feel like they don't know enough. So it's like two devils on your shoulder, if you want to say it that way. that it kind of nag you. You have the fear of failure and the fear of success going on at the same time, which is, paralyzing to some people. So they don't move at all, because they don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to fail, if they're going to fail at it. And then also they don't know what to do if they actually do well, and they're trying to figure that out as well. And so the one thing that beats fear for me is knowledge. So I believe if you have knowledge, then you become less fearful. So that is my aim when I am working with people. I am trying to make them a little more knowledgeable about processes, things out here that are available to them, how things really work, and take the uncertainty out of the equation.
And how do you think people can do that?
They can do it by learning. So if you want to get a business coach, there's so many ways you can go about it. If you want to get a business coach, get a business coach. If you want to get a consultant to kind of help you do that. But the biggest thing is to get the knowledge so that okay, I was fearful about, what kind of systems I might need in place. Well, now I know. So the only thing left is to implement. And if you need help implementing, get that help. I had a business owner that I met years ago. Well, I'll take that back. She doesn't own the business, but she works in the business as a business operations manager. I met years ago, and she was telling me about, this business. And it's almost like, when she came in, it was like a kind of a one-man show. They might have had like a little bit of equipment. They were really trying to just get started. What they didn't have is that knowledge of how to go in and network with people, how to do the business side of it, like the inner workings, the office, and everything that needed to occur in order for them to be able to grow. Whether it's, getting somebody to get these bids ready, like all of the things that they needed to do to really be able to grow. And so that's what she helped with. And sometimes that's what you need. You need a person who can take care of a certain part of your business that you may not feel as comfortable with. So you may need to do that. You may need to look at bringing someone in if you're able to do that at that point.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Munira's Musings. We hope that you found today's conversation inspiring and useful so that you can continue making progress towards mastering your own niche. Please tune in next week for another episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media at Munira's Musings on Facebook and leave us a review wherever you're listening to podcasts. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.